Welcome. In the world of corporate development, there's a huge decision that comes up again and again. Do you buy the established market leader or do you bet on the Agile Disruptor? It's a choice that does more than just shape one deal. It really defines the entire strategic future of your company. So let's break down the calculus.
Here's how we're going to walk through this. We'll start at that core M&A crossroads. Then we'll profile the leader and the disruptor, put them head-to-head, tackle the all-important integration phase, and finally, land on a framework to help you define your own strategy.
Okay, so let's imagine we're stepping into the boardroom. Right there, at the center of the table, is this fundamental choice, a decision that really pits stability against raw ambition.
This quote from Zuckerberg really just cuts right to the core of modern M&A, doesn't it? You've got this immense pressure to de-risk, but at the same time, there's a strategic mandate to go after disruptive growth. And that tension, that tension forces a very deliberate and very high-stakes choice.
And really, it all boils down to this single question of where you put your capital. Are you going to deploy your funds to fortify the fortress you already have? Or are you going to launch a preemptive strike to capture the high ground of tomorrow's market?
All right, let's dissect our first archetype, the established market leader. This is what we call the incumbent strategy. It's a move that's designed to buy strength, scale, and, most importantly, predictability.
An incumbent is often seen as the flight to quality acquisition. The whole idea is crystal clear. You secure and expand your current market position. You do it through immediate economies of scale and by adding stable, predictable earnings to your bottom line.
And this framework really spells out the rationale. The number one goal is accretive EBITDA. It's about de-risking your P&L through sheer scale. But you got to notice the trade-off here. This stability often comes with the baggage of incumbent inertia and, frankly, a pretty low ceiling for any kind of high-velocity organic growth.
Now, let's flip the script completely. In stark contrast, let's analyze the profile of the market disruptor. This is not about fortifying the present. This is a direct investment in a very different future. Buying a disruptor is the classic answer to the innovator's dilemma. See, when big companies find it almost impossible to replicate that kind of disruptive innovation happening on the sidelines, what do? They acquire it. They're not just buying a product, they're buying new tech, new talent, and entirely new business models. And right here, you can see the high-risk, high-reward calculus laid bare. The goal isn't immediate EBITDA. It's about securing future relevance and generating what we call strategic alpha. The trade-off is obvious. You're taking on significant market and integration risk, but you're doing it in the pursuit of exponential, not just incremental growth. Okay, so now for the fun part. Let's put these two archetypes into a direct, head-to-head comparison. How would these two very different opportunities actually be presented and debated inside an investment committee? The real challenge for any M&A director is articulating these profound differences in the boardroom. The language you use to talk about risk, valuation, and strategic fit has to be incredibly precise and totally different for each type of target.
This table really gives us the essential framework. Look, for a market leader, the goal is cash flow, it's valued on historical EBITDA, and you're looking at low execution risk. For a disruptor, the goal is technology and growth, it's valued on forward revenue projections, and it carries high market risk. The advantages are clear as day: operational stability versus strategic future-proofing. These are two fundamentally different investment theses.
And this is absolutely critical to understand. You cannot apply the same financial lens to these two targets. It just doesn't work. A leader is valued on what's already happened: precedent deals, proven, trailing EBITDA. A disruptor? It's valued on future potential. Forward revenue multiples, user growth, total addressable market, all metrics that are, yes, more speculative, but they're essential for pricing innovation.
So, you've acquired the asset, but that's only the first part of the equation. The greatest challenge, and honestly where most value is either created or destroyed, is in the post-merger integration. Especially when you buy a disruptor, the number one integration risk is a cultural clash. The acquirer's established processes, and let's be honest, bureaucracy, can accidentally suffocate the very agility and innovation DNA that made the target so valuable in the first place. And this simple contrast just powerfully illustrates the scale of that challenge. How do you integrate a 50-person team that moves at lightning speed into a 5,000-person organization that's driven by process and quarterly earnings without breaking it? That right there is the central integration dilemma. So, after all that, what's the final verdict? Which path is the correct one? Well, the answer, of course, is that it depends entirely on your corporate strategy.
Here's the crucial point.
Leader acquisitions are a defensive move. They fortify the present. Disruptor acquisitions, they're an offensive bet on the future. Both can be correct, but your valuation, your diligence, your integration models, they all have to be completely distinct and perfectly aligned with your organization's specific strategic goals and its appetite for risk.
And so we'll end with a challenge for you. Take a hard look at your own M&A pipeline and ask this critical question. Is it designed to defend the company you are today, or is it built to acquire the company you absolutely must become? The answer to that, well, it reveals the true strategic intent of your entire organization.